It is now 9:30, and we will call to order Municipal Service Committee today. Clerk, can you please call the roll? Present.
Present.
Thank you so much. We have a few pieces of legislation that we definitely want to go through today. And starting up, I will call up first. Well, I think MoCap has the most pieces of legislation, do you? You have two. We could do Parks and Recreation, then we'll come back to you. So we will call up Parks and Recreation to the table. Good morning. Ordinance number 465-2024 by Council Members Conwell, Harrison, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing Director of Park and Recreation to enter into an agreement with the Cleveland Cultural Gardens Federation to co-sponsor the 2025 One World Day. Director, is there anything you would like to speak to regarding this ordinance?
Good morning. The City of Cleveland has been providing support to the Cleveland Cultural Gardens Federation for the last several years in regard to the One World Day event, which takes place every year in August. The request is for $10,000 to support this event, which would include transportation, and assistance with rentals of golf carts so that people can get to the different gardens around Rockefeller Park. Planning for this event has already started to take place in 2024. This money came out of the Public Works Department. As a new department in 2025, it will come out of the Parks and Recreation Department. And so we request approval for this funding for One World Day. Thank you.
Thank you. And just in context, you said how long have you, the city, participated in this event?
The city has been providing support to this event for the last 8 or 9 years. It had been through councilmatic funds in the past. The last couple of years, it has come out of the operating budget for the city.
All right. Members of the committee, any questions?
Sure.
Councilman Anthony Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the city's budget, we're using money to support this festival. And we have been out of the operational budget for the last few years. And so what other festivals are we supporting and giving monies to that's not supported by councilmatic funds? Through the chair.
Through the chair to the council member, I need to check on that. I have not been made aware of any other festivals at this time that the city is providing operating support for.
Got it. Thank you. Through the chair and to our policy staff, I'd like to request from administration what other festivals or, neighborhood organizations that we are giving money to sponsor or support that's coming out of the operating or general fund budget of the city of Cleveland directly. I'm curious about that because when council members want to use discretionary dollars to support a festival or something in the neighborhood, well, you can't use money for festivals. It's all general fund dollars, right? So if what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? And so if we're saying it's not good for the goose, then it shouldn't be good. All right. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Anthony Harrison. Also, we have Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, just to piggyback on Councilman Hairston's request, which is a good request because, again, we get told no all the time when it comes to providing these type of services for neighborhood events that we have. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then on a miscellaneous, if you could indulge me real quick, Mr. Chairman, Can we get an update on where we are with providing funds for the African American Garden? I know that that was a hot topic during budget hearings and shortly after that. But if you could provide us, I think they were, I forgot what it was, a couple $100,000 short of reaching their goal to assure that that garden gets completed. So if you could provide us with an update on where we are with that as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Doctor?
Through the chair to the council member, thank you. I will check on that funding as well, or that funding request, rather.
Thank you, and staff, you do have the request that Councilman Brian Casey and Anthony Harrison has asked regarding updates to figure out what's the difference between supporting this type of initiative from the administration versus what council members try to do in their neighborhoods. Yep. Any other questions? Seeing there's no other questions regarding ordinance number 465-2025 has passed. Council members, please sign.
Thank you.
Don't you have one more?
Oh.
I think you got one more.
I do have another.
550?
You're good.
Oh, I'm good.
You good? Okay,
you.
definitely.
Yes.
Ordinance number 550-2025, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to enter into one or more contracts with Case Western Reserve to provide a youth summer sports nutrition, health, and life skills development program for 2025 under the National Youth Sports Program supported by Case Western Reserve University. And this is brought by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request. Director, can you please speak to this?
Thank you. To the chair, this program has been going on for many years. It is in partnership with Case Western Reserve University, and it does provide summer out-of-school time programming to youth in our community, which involves a variety of sports activities. It is operated similar to a summer camp. We definitely recommend that we continue to participate in this activity and seek council support to continue to provide it. Thank you.
Thank you. And if I'm quite sure from my memory, there was, I forgot the gentleman's name. who usually brings that.
Co-chairs?
Yes. Yep, so when they usually bring that initiative out, I know there are usually flyers and different marketing things. One of the things I definitely want to make a request is, with this event, can we get that information sent over to council members so we can also invite neighborhoods and get the marketing out to make sure that they are at full capacity with this program with our youth. We know summer is fastly approaching, and I know it starts to begin in June 9th through July 11th, and I know that Councilmember Kevin Conwell is a very big supporter of this initiative, so we definitely will want to make sure we have members and youth in our neighborhoods participating in the National Youth Sports Program. Also include on any marketing flyer, we will want to make a request that council's logo is included on there. This is not just one side of the OWL's initiative. This is something that is a collaboration, so the council's logo should be included on all marketing materials as it relates to this program now. I see it says for 5 weeks, and within this budget estimated around $150,000. Within that $150,000, do we have any breakdown what is actually spent through that $150,000 that we allocate each year? And if there's some additional costs, what does that look like to the director?
To the chair, we do not anticipate any additional costs for this 5-week program. I believe most of those funds are for instruction. Another portion of those funds are for meals that the participants receive daily as a part of this program. And I can get a more complete breakdown for you.
Yep. And to that point, for clarification, I definitely would tell this to our staff to do some more research, because how you say we're using general fund dollars of $150,000 to support meal programs, but the same thing is not when we're trying to use discretionary money to be able to support meal programs or different initiatives in our neighborhoods. So I definitely would like to make sure staff can get some research to figure out what's the difference between this general fund dollars used for meals versus the general, our discretionary funds that we oftentimes are told no, that we can't use for meals and stuff like that, especially during the summer hours where organizations are reaching out to council members' offices for support for their summer programming. Definitely. I don't have any other questions. I will turn this over to committee members. Any questions regarding 550-2025?
Nope.
Seeing there's no any further questions, 550-2025 passes. Council members, please sign. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Let me see what we got next.
Is that the piece?
There is Mayor Office of Capital Projects. Got a couple pieces from them. So the first one we bring up, it would be ordinance number 498-2025 by council members McCormick, Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin, an emergency ordinance authorizing the mayor and the commissioner of purchase and supplies to sell certain city-owned properties no longer needed for the city public use located in the vicinity of I-90 Central Interchange from East 9th Street to Carnegie Ave for the purpose of constructing improvement to the interchange. Director?
Hello, Mr. Chairman. So this ordinance relates to an upcoming ODOT project that we refer to as the Interbelt Trench Project. It's a portion of that project that they call CCG 3A, and that project has been before City Council in the past, but this particular ordinance relates to the sale of easements needed for the project at appraised value. To my left is Commissioner DeGennaro, and she's going to go through the specifics of this.
Thank you, Director. As the Director noted, this is part of ODOT's construction contract group 3A, otherwise known as CCG 3A. You may have heard it referred to as. This is a project to improve the east and westbound areas of I-90 in the central interchange area between East 9th and Carnegie Avenue, and to also replace the East 22nd Street and Carnegie Avenue bridges over I-90. The project includes reconstruction and reconfiguration of some of the ramps, the ramp connections to I-90, and also some side street improvements on Carnegie Avenue, East 22nd, and Cedar. ODOT needs 2 parcels, and they're actually fee acquisitions, not easements. So they need 2 parcels from the city. The first is a portion of a triangular-shaped piece of land that is south of Carnegie Avenue between East 14th and East 18th, kind of where they converge together. It's permanent parcel 103-11027. And ODOT needs a sliver of it for the widening of Carnegie Avenue to improve turning movements off of Carnegie onto East 14th. And then they also need a parcel from us that's already in the right-of-way of I-90. It was acquired by the city in the 1950s when I-90 was constructed. And ODOT does have a standard highway easement over this parcel. It's permanent parcel 103-26-009. And ODOT has an easement to build and maintain the freeway, but now they wish to own the parcel. And so they will acquire these parcels from us for a appraised value of $85,300. And the project is scheduled to begin in April of 2026.
Thank you, Director and Commissioner. Thank you for this update. I definitely want to ask, within this ordinance, I believe my name should be included on this, Councilman Starr, because this is taking place in Ward 5 as in addition. I do see you have Councilmember Kerry McCormick, Councilman Bishop, and Hairston and Griffin. I'd like to be added on this because this work is starting in Ward 5, going throughout the central neighborhood, East 22nd Street, a lot of different activity with this project, so I would like to be included or added to this. Thank you. And you said this is supposed to take place and start in April 2026, so a year from now?
Correct.
Okay. And then within this project, do we have to put any dollars to this initiative, or is this all ODOT?
This is funded by ODOT.
Do we have
and it's fully funded.
Okay, within that fully funded project, do we know the current amount that it would cost for this to actually take place as far as the budget amount?
Yes, let's see, the estimated design cost is $27 million. Estimated right-of-way cost, $13 million. Estimated construction cost, $280 million. And that's for the entire central interchange reconstruction.
Most definitely, and if you possibly could, send that over to our staff so we could get that out to council members so they could be able to have that actual data regarding to this entire project. And I know the sale will be praised value at $85,300. So,
Will do, Chairman. Thank you.
thank you. I will now turn it over to the committee for any questions regarding ordinance number 498. Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to the director, why would we sell the property? Why not just lease it to him for the time being?
Through the chairman and the councilman, so ODOT has certain rules regarding land control for any project, whether it's a project for us or it's a project for them. And so leasing is not an option that qualifies as clearing the right-of-way, which is what they call, meaning that whoever's running the project has control of the property needed.
So, Mr. Chairman, to the director, does that mean if we don't sell him the property that the project would not go forward?
Through the chairman and the councilman, they would likely exert eminent domain against us to acquire the property.
Really?
Because they would need the property to move forward, which is in our best interest. And
I get all that. I'm just wondering
Yeah.
why we sell property to the state, and then afterwards, what will be on this parcel once they're done with the project?
So the first parcel, through the chair, it's just a sliver. If you look at the map in your packet, it's just a sliver along the south side of Carnegie
Right.
that they're taking to improve the turning radius, the left turning radius from Carnegie onto East 14th.
So that will be just another turning. It'll just be concrete.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and then the second parcel is actually already within the right-of-way of I-90. So it basically, that's just the way the parcel looks, but it's basically within the freeway, right-of-way anyway. So there'll be changes there. I think you can probably look at the map, the color-coded map I included that looks like spaghetti, but.
So in the second one, will that grassy area, the two portions of the grassy area that are on either side of the interstate, will that will become theirs then, correct? And it'll stay grass?
On the second, the first one or the second one?
The second one? I'm looking at the one where the truck is in the middle of your
Yeah,
triangle.
I have to look at what I refer to as the spaghetti map here to figure out exactly what the changes proposed are there. Let's see. It looks like, that there will be pavement there because I think the whole thing is being widened. Yeah. The whole freeway is being sort of widened and relocated.
All
So
right,
I don't think
so
that
in both of the
grassy area
parcels,
will
Mr.
remain.
Chairman, to the Commissioner and the Director, the green space that is there currently on the map will become concrete because of the widening, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, to your point, so the initiative is to redo East 22nd Street. And within that, a project is going to be able to make Central be more accessible to downtown than having certain streets that it just becomes a dead end if you look at it from now. Also, they're redoing the whole East 22nd Street Bridge to make it more pedestrian friendly, so residents in that neighborhood can be able to walk through and across that. Also, the juvenile court building over there is actually coming down from Cuyahoga County and the work that I've been able to work with them. So their whole new look in that neighborhood will change. And also the St. Vincent's Charity Hospital is doing some demolition as far as their facilities. The centers is actually coming over to the neighborhood, and neighborhood family practice is coming over to the neighborhood, as well as a new Carolinas with a new Director Griffin, the CEO there, who is leading the charge to make sure the health care provided. So the whole area should be able to create opportunities for residents, could have a walking distance to be able to get to all the amenities downtown, a part of the neighborhood. Any other questions, members of the committee? Oh, Councilwoman Gray, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Well, you hit it on the nail. Those were some of the questions I had pertaining to the whole reconstruction of your area, what is and will be going on in that area, and that's the reason why ODOT want to expand the freeway and the street per se, of those reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Seeing there is no other question, well, Councilman Joseph Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, congratulations on the development that's happening and taking place in your neighborhood through your leadership. The question I would have, Mr. Chairman, to the director, these funds, where do they go?
Through the chairman of the councilman, so sale of property funds go into the general fund.
I see. And so the work that's being done is going to be concrete, not asphalt. Is that correct?
Through the chairman and councilman, that's my understanding. It's currently concrete and it'll be replaced with concrete.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, no other further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing there's no other questions from the committee, 498-2025 has passed. Committee members, please sign. Next piece we have is ordinance number 496-2025 by council members Bishop, Harrison, and Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing Director of Capital Projects to enter into a project development agreement with the Board of Park Commissioners of the Cleveland Metropolitan Park District regarding the design, construction, and the use of 4 trail projects located within the city of Cleveland, to grant consent to Metro Parks to construct the improvements, to apply for and accept any gifts or grants from any public or private entity, authorizing any relative agreements, authorize the Commissioner of Purchasing and Supply to acquire and accept real property and easements, and causing payments of the city's share to Metro Parks. This was first read April 14, 2025. Director, you will speak to this piece?
Yes, sir. And before I do, just to introduce our guest, my left is Sarah Meyer from Cleveland Metro Parks, and she's the project manager for these rail raised trails. And to my right is Phil Kidd in the Office of Capital Projects, and he's our Complete and Green Street and Trails coordinator. So this ordinance has many pieces, parts, but really it's as straightforward in its concept in that it's to allow us to work with the Metro Parks to finish the design and get into construction for trails that were funded by the federal government under the RAISE grant program. And so in summer of 2024, the Metro Parks, with support from the city, received a RAISE construction award of $19.5 million. And that followed an earlier RAISE planning grant for all of the trails that you see in here. And I'm just going to go through the trails quickly and highlight which wards they serve in, and then Sarah's going to go through a PowerPoint. But the Slavic Village Downtown Connector North Trail is in wards 3, 5, and 12. The Morgana Run Booth Avenue Extension Trail is in wards 2 and 12. And then the Opportunity Corridor Connector Trail is in wards 3 and 5. Now, those are the 3 trails that received RAISE construction funding. And the one trail that received RAISE design only funding, which is kind of on a longer trajectory, is the Euclid Creek Project Greenway Extension, which is in wards 8 and 10. So I do want to highlight, did I get that right? No.
It's opposite.
Oh, geez, okay, please correct me.
So the Opportunity Corridor Connector and Euclid Creek Greenway were just done through feasibility, preliminary engineering stage, and there's follow-on funding for Euclid Creek Greenway for the design coming from $500,000 from City Council back in May of 2023. And then Opportunity Corridor Connector, there's involvement with Norfolk Southern Railroad, and that's just going to take a little bit longer.
Okay.
So
Thank you, Sarah. My apologies, Councilman. I do want to highlight that our city contribution towards these trails are $315,000. The remainder of the project is $323,000 from the Cleveland Metro Parks, $950,000, which was the RAISE planning grant, and then the $19.5 million, which was a great award, came from the RAISE construction grants. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Sarah for a presentation, and then we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. It's
And
great to be
ju-
here this
Before
morning.
you start, please, council members, we're going to go through the presentation. If you have any questions, committee members, please write them down. After the presentation complete, we will get all questions asked and answered as the order of you request to be put on for questions or comments. So please hold your questions to after the presentation so we can get through the presentation, and then we'll be able to get back to questions. So please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll run through this pretty quickly and have some time for some questions. So the RAISE project, as Mr. DeRosa said, is a partnership between the city and Cleveland Metro Parks, and also involvement with the city of Euclid. We did receive a $950,000 planning grant back in 2021. It took a while to get under contract for that one, so we started in earnest in August of 2023. And it's the 4 projects that were mentioned. And then the planning grant here, a little bit more of a map you can see for the Slavic Village Downtown Connector. Let's see if the pointer is working.
Yeah, I saw it there for a sec.
Yeah, it's kind of bopping in and out. The Slavic Village Downtown Connector North that you can see in the blue hatched, and the Morgana Run extension towards the bottom near Garfield Park are the ones that received the construction grant. Thank you. And it's making a lot of connections. You can see some of the other projects that are funded. The Garfield Boulevard Connector Trail, which is along Garfield Boulevard, obviously, that is under construction right now, will be finished up this fall. And so the Slavic Village Downtown Connector really is a complement to the Towpath Trail, but on the east side of the river, making major connections. And then the Euclid Creek Greenway extension, the long planned for connection between the lakefront portion of the park and the lower portion of the park. And as mentioned, Opportunity Corridor Connector, that's taking a little bit more time, just it's a more involved project with real estate. And we went through a planning process. The city of Cleveland was very involved in that. Phil got to be a part of the project team, and we are so appreciative of the partnership and support. He's been meeting every couple of weeks for the last 2 years on this project, and went through a community process as well, working with the CDCs and city planning. And then just a quick diagram of what the trail will look like. It's a standard 10-foot wide trail, asphalt trail, with 2 feet on either side. And so that's the standard that you see for all-purpose trails for Cleveland Metro Parks. And just a quick timeline, we're towards the end of this. The final engineering on Morgana Run extension, Booth Avenue extension, and the Slavic Village Downtown Connector North is concluding this summer. And we are hopeful to be able to bid the project this fall to start construction in the spring for the Morgana Run, Booth Avenue extension, Slavic Village Downtown Connector North. Those are the ones that received the $19.5 million construction grant. Those will take about 2 years, just more for maintenance of traffic because of utility relocations that have to happen. But that is the anticipated schedule. And then for the Euclid Creek Greenway, we do have funding outside of the RAISE program, which is to construct up to St. Clair Avenue in this next year using congestion mitigation air quality funds and Clean Ohio Trail funds. And then we'll be seeking funding for the rest of the Euclid Creek Greenway and continuing work on the Opportunity Corridor Connector outside of the RAISE project. And just a quick diagram of what exactly is the Slavic Village Downtown Connector. It's building on the small portion of the trail along 77 that ODOT built as one of the Interbelt Construction Group projects by Broadway, and bringing it up past the Postal Center on Orange and up to East 14th and Orange Boulevard, using Broadway for the majority of the route, and using the excess capacity that's on Broadway. There's not that many cars on the northern portion of it. Vehicular traffic is pretty low, so we can repurpose some of that right away. And all of these projects are built within primarily the city right away or other public property. And just what I was explaining with the excess capacity, this is up near East 30th Street, so a very wide right-of-way, and taking that down to 3 lanes to repurpose some of that excess right-of-way. And most of it has a little bit more of a buffer. This is kind of the most constrained part of the trail along Broadway. And then the Morgana Run Booth Avenue extension. This is bringing together the 2.1-mile Morgana Run trail that was constructed about 15 or so years ago, and bringing it through the neighborhood, going through the Booth underpass at Jones Road, making that connection from the end of Morgana Run, going down East 91st Street, and connecting into the small part of trail that's along Broadway that the city put in, and connecting into Mill Creek Falls area of Garfield Park Reservation. And then you'll be able to get through Garfield Park, and all the improvements that have been made there make connections into the towpath trail as well. And then just a look at the Morgana Run. This is Booth Avenue, looking towards the underpass, and then taking that down, using some of that excess space, putting in more of a greenway in this area, more green space, more trees. And so the follow-on projects, as I mentioned, in that kind of fuchsia color is the Phase 3 of Euclid Creek Greenway extension that will be constructed using the other funds, and that cyan color is what will be follow-on work and trying to assemble funding. And we've done Euclid Creek Greenway. This will be the 3rd phase, 4th phase, so we've been kind of building our way northward. And then the Opportunity Corridor Connector project, just very similar to the Red Line Greenway, utilizing RTA property along their tracks, and then making a connection into East 34th Street Station, connecting to East 55th Street Station, and then ramping up to Broadway to connect with the Slavic Village Downtown Connector Trail. And there are additional phases of the Slavic Village Downtown Connector that are in progress right now. The southernmost piece of that, working with Councilwoman Maurer in her area. There's actually a meeting at the Block Club tomorrow about that project. And the city is actually going to be taking the design of that project and leading construction on that next year. And then ODOT is working on the central portion as part of their I-77 shoulder widening and retaining wall project. And so that will be completed in the next several years, that entire stretch. And that is it for the presentation.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you for that presentation. I definitely want to say kudos to Mr. Phil Kidd, because his monthly emails and updates that you send out to council members. I know I receive a lot of the different information, but I do want to ask a question within all these meetings that you host throughout the years. I say years because it's been some time. I think I started getting emails early last 2024, 2023 regarding these different initiatives. Within your collaboration and partnership with this initiative, with the Cleveland Complete and Green Straits trailer, how are you working with council members for those meetings to make sure they are a part of the process and making sure a lot of residents get to those meetings? Because sometimes in Cleveland, we have meetings go on and they take place, and everyone speaking at the meetings or everyone talking about the projects of what's happening in Cleveland are not necessarily the residents at some meetings. Not saying your meetings are that way, but that is something that usually happens. The next you know, you see everybody talking about what Cleveland should be doing, but they're not even working or they don't even live, but they want to talk about it, but they want to be at the meetings as opposed to the residents having their thoughts be heard. So how have you worked with council members to make sure that we collab on those meetings that you've been hosting through the chair?
Thank you for the question, Chairman. I would say there's a host of things. One of the things I'll probably start by saying is that we now have a lot more staff capacity to work on this. Traditionally, a lot of the burden was placed on our engineering and construction staff, and we would go through kind of, the standard process of public meetings and things like this. But with not only our engineering staff, but now we have planning staff in the planning department, as well as other additional staff within MOCAP, such as myself and Katie Moore, who's special projects. We are able to do a lot more, I would say, like not just engagement, but also help think through things that take into consideration maybe some existing priorities that council folk had or residents that, from attending various different CDC functions or meetings, having those relationships. I come from the community development world, so I worked in CDCs and understand and appreciate that very much. This is also, to your point about the newsletter, why we began that is because the fact that I know from myself, when I started at the city, I realized how much is going on and how much people generally, didn't necessarily know about. So what I try to do monthly with those newsletters in a broad way is to paint a very large picture of everything that's happening citywide. And if it is a specific project, then there is a community meeting coming up that's also included in there as well. But that does not replace any kind of one-on-one engagement with council members. So with some of these trail segments in particular, we've had some one-on-one debriefings. Sarah mentioned last night for one section right now, we're meeting with the Forest City Block Club in Slavic Village. The CDCs attend these meetings as well. And we try to do as much broad engagement. This project's a little unique because we have a great partner like Metro Parks who's able to help us with a lot of that engagement. But also on the Complete and Green Street side, just depends on the projects. I will say the first few projects that have come through our updated ordinance from 2022 are going to start entering into the design phase. So there will be a lot more now one-on-one engagement with the council people and some community meetings coming up. So I'm pretty excited about that. But again, we also are trying to ramp up the engagement beyond just the standard, public meetings for any particular project. And you'll be seeing a lot more of that move forward in addition to just the standard communications like the newsletter and things like that.
Thank you. And within the whole scope of this initiative, this is to be able to create more walking trails and accessibility for all residents. And therefore, some areas we can't walk or can't get there on bike or anything like this. So overall, in the broader spectrum within all 1, 2, 3, 4 initiatives is to be able to complete opportunities for people to have different walk paths. And do we have like an end goal or like for the trails to where are they being able to be accessible to? Is it something to say, hey, to have everybody have access to downtown, or is it what would be a central area for these initiatives?
So, Mr. Chairman, I wanted to highlight that we have this multi-party group called the Cuyahoga Greenway Partners, which is a county-wide group that's formed to really prioritize what are missing links, if you will, in our trail system, to help us align our priorities and help us work together to try to get big funding grants like the RAISE grants. We feel that one of the reasons we received both the planning and then the massive $19.5 million is that we all work together as a region with letters of support and participating in funding and participating in different parts of these projects and could show the federal government that this is really the regional priorities. So to answer your question, this group regularly meets to determine, okay, so these are the 4 links that are missing links that are being addressed now. What are the other missing links that need to be addressed now that those ones are addressed? And I would say there's 2 things going on. That's kind of the regional priority through the Cuyahoga Greenway Partners. And then there's often just local priorities that don't rise to that level, but we know from council, we know from the administration, we know from Phil, this is a micro link, if you will, that's really important to the neighborhood, might not raise to the regional level. And then those are trails that we also address through city initiatives, or we add on to, maybe we flag it that we can add it onto a nearby project. So I don't think that there's one goal to get everybody to downtown, but the overall goal is to link to trails that exist so that folks have more options for where they can go on a multi-purpose trail as opposed to trying to be on sharrows and trying to kind of get through congested areas.
Yes, and thank you, Director, for that explanation, because that is something that should be communicated so residents understanding the end goal. Sometimes we want to know what the end goal and then how the steps get to that goal. It's very important for us to be explained why this is happening, because once the construction starts, everyone is going to make up their thoughts of what is happening. But if we have that marketed out, explained out, letting everyone know that you're trying to connect to existing trails that exist to be able to bring them up to speed is something important. I definitely want to ask another question regarding the additional $315,000 for the city to share to implement the RAISE projects. Where is this funding actually coming from?
So, Mr. Chairman, that number is just capturing commitments that the city has either already made through legislation or in our current capital improvement plan legislation. There will be some small amounts related to trails in there as well. And I will say there's a larger amount in there too, the $800,000 needed for the Crete to the Fleet to Crete. Fleet to Chard portion, the construction portion is in this year's capital improvement plan as well. So this is this 315 is the combination of all the amounts that we've already promised as matches for the construction project.
So through that
Capital bonds.
okay, through that explanation, so this money comes from our ARPA dollars?
So this is through road and bridge bonds. Yeah, there were ARPA dollars associated with the Euclid Creek Greenway in the amount of $500,000, and that was for the final design, which will be kicking off shortly. That's what Sarah referenced that council had authorized previously. So that was ARPA, and the rest was road and bridge bonds.
Okay, so that $315,000 is from road and bridge bonds. And I see it had a funding source on there that states funding numbers 01-0103-692010 SF 400, and that is that account for the road and bridge bonds, not an ARPA request fund.
Mr. Chairman, I would have to research that number to answer that question.
Yes, I would definitely like for us to get that information sent back over. And to that point, I would pass it over to Councilman Casey.
On that point, Mr. Chairman, to the director, 10 SF 400 is our ARPA recovery dollars. That's the fund that ARPA. So according to this piece of legislation, you're using that fund for this piece of legislation.
Through the chairman and the councilman, I can't say that the ARPA recovery is where the $500,000 for the Euclid Creek Greenway final design came from, but we also have other road and bridge dollars that make up the rest of the $315,000. So it sounds like we need to add a funding source for the rest of the 315.
Right, Mr. Chairman, to the director, but the 315 is not coming out of the 10 SF 400 fund, correct?
Only through the chairman and the councilman, so that is correct.
Right, so
Yeah.
that money has already been allocated for the Euclid
Creek Greenway,
project.
yes.
So why then, Mr. Chairman, to the director, would it need to be in this piece of legislation?
Well, the reason we have, well, it's a couple of things. So the $500,000 for the Euclid Creek Greenway final design, we as a city are going to let that design contract. The $315,000 that's in here, we need authorization because we're going to hand that over to the Metro Parks for construction. Is that correct?
We're actually letting the design for Euclid Creek Greenway. That was in the agreement.
Okay.
But yes, the 300, to the chair, to the committee, the 315,000 was, as Mr. DeRosa said, that was already committed funding, and so this is just the mechanism to be able to access that, and that was for the planning grant.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, to the director, is the 315,000 part of the 500,000?
It is
Separate.
not. It
It's
is separate,
okay.
yes, sir. Yes.
So again, we'll go back to if this 315,000 is going to come from the bonds, right? Why do we need to have the 10 SF 400 in the legislation? Because it looks like you're using two sources of funding to come up with this money, part of it being ARPA dollars.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, this ordinance is also the mechanism to get the $500,000 for the Euclid Creek connector design to the metro parks.
The 500, which is ARPA dollars,
ARPA
correct?
recovery.
Okay, so,
Yes.
but again, Mr. Chairman, to the director, is there any other piece of legislation out there that directs that 500,000 from SF 400 to this project?
So through the chairman and the councilman, there is an ordinance that directs it to this project, but it doesn't allow us to direct the money to the metro parks to spend the money.
All right, Mr. Chairman, to the director, do you know what piece of legislation that is so that we can find it?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have that here, but I have that handy at my desk. It was, and through the chairman and the councilman, it was one of the lakefront activation pieces of legislation was passed when the administration came to council with the ARPA revenue recovery funds, but I can get that number for you.
So would that be 5/29/2023? I think it would be 5/29/2023. Mr. Chairman, to our staff, if we can have them pull 5/29/2023 and bring a copy to the table, our staff, if we could bring a copy of 5/29/2023, just to see if that piece of legislation allocates the 500,000 to the metro parks. I just want to make sure that we're not, for a lack of a better term, double dipping here and giving authority twice. One with a piece of legislation, and then a second, one with 529, and then a second one with
This one.
496, excuse me, 496, which would technically maybe even bring it to a total of $1 million, right? We just want to make sure that, you know, that there's a need to have this 10 SF 400 fund in here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman recognizes Councilman Joe Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The total expense on this project, what do you have as your total? I see different funding sources when you add it all together. Would that come to 21 million?
To the chair, to the councilman, yes, that is approximately the total. We had the original planning grant, which comes to about $1.6 million. $950,000 was through the RAISE program, commitments from the city, and then also Cleveland Metro Parks share, and then that separate follow-on construction project. We do have $19.5 million. We have a little additional funding through NOACA for that project as well that we think will cover the entire cost, and our share on the local match for the NOACA funds, Cleveland Metro Parks will be picking up.
Well, but this project here, when is your estimated time where you look to be, when did you start it, and then what is your estimated time to complete it?
So we started in earnest in August of 2023 with the RAISE planning grant. We'll be finishing this summer with the planning. We are hoping to be able to let the project this fall for construction, the follow-on construction funding, and then it would be completed. We'd have 2 full construction seasons, so out 26, 27, and then substantial completion would probably be at the end of 2027, but some landscaping in spring of 28.
Do you foresee yourself needing any more funds to complete the project, or any project overruns?
No, Cleveland Metro Parks is committed to any project overruns on the construction grant.
I see. No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Joe Jones. I will recognize now Councilwoman Gray.
Thank you, Chair, appreciate it. Just have a few questions. Is this trail, will this trail be linked to the lakefront? Chair, to the team?
To the chair, to the councilwoman, we're building connections that attach to other existing trails, and so Slavic Village Downtown Connector will connect you to the Memorial Bridges Loop Trail, and then there's other spurs that get you to the lakefront.
Okay.
So through West 25th Street, what's going in there as part of RTA's Metro Health Bus Rapid Transit project and prior investments with the Cleveland Lakefront Bikeway, yes, you would be able to get there from both the Morgana Run Booth Avenue extension through the existing Morgana Run Trail, through Slavic Village Downtown Connector, Memorial Bridges, 25th, Cleveland Lakefront Bikeway.
Okay, all right. That's what it appeared to be at, which is probably going to be fantastic once it's all done, just to say the least. Chair to the team, because when I travel to other cities, just to see the immaculate trails they have connected to their lakefront, it's just awesome. It's just truly awesome to know that if that's something that's going to be our futuristic plan for the city of Cleveland, I think people will enjoy that type of scope that you are presenting. But thank you for that. But I have another question. I noticed on the Savick Village downtown connector, just looking at the diagrams, are you going to reduce some of the lanes from 2 to 1? And then that's the Savick Village downtown connector. I see that you have 2 lanes going west, look like west to east, and then the next one is the buffer near 30th, and you have 1 lane per se. So some of these lanes will be reduced, Chair, to the team.
Through the chair to the council member, yes, that is correct. That section of Broadway that is north of 490 sees only about 4,000 or 5,000 cars a day, which is fairly low capacity, certainly not enough capacity for 4 lanes of traffic. And when you have 4 lanes of traffic, it tends to cause maneuvers that more crashes, cars going around each other. So it's actually a safer condition to have the one way in each direction with that center turning lane. And that allows us to utilize that right away. And then the section that goes from 490 south will be maintained as 4 lanes, because that's where, with the highway, the traffic picks up considerably, and so that will be maintained as a 4-lane section.
Interesting. So, Chair, to the team, how long did it take you to survey that? And also, second half to that question, Chair had asked a similar question to this gentleman right here pertaining to community input. So was community input done due to what you surveyed, of reducing the lanes in that area? Chair to the team.
Yes, through the chair to the councilwoman, there was extensive public engagement throughout the project, and with having embedded on the project team Mr. Kidd and members of the planning staff and going through traffic engineering for all of the reviews of the planning study, we had 3 major rounds of public engagement. We dropped physical surveys and maps at people's homes for sections of the project, and working with the CDCs, we felt we had very good information going in and out and feedback from the community. Because these trails had been studied before, but at a much kind of higher level. And so we drilled down to get people's preferences, and there was a slide earlier on that kind of gave a matrix of the different criteria for the trail. Did people want something that was more direct, more lit, more of a greenway, could maybe deviating from the right-of-way more? And so we took all that feedback, as well as some of the engineering. We were working in very constrained spaces, so the feasibility of what you can actually fit there was a big part of the, the calculus, putting it all together. But the community feedback throughout the whole process really did shape the trails, did shape the design, and we kept going back out and getting touch points, and that was really crucial to have that progress team. And GCRTA was also has been part of that progress team as well, so that we're integrating what they're doing with the Broadway transit-oriented development study. And so we're kind of putting in some of the infrastructure first there, but we're in lockstep with them, and now we'll be on their stakeholder committee for that project. So we're all working very much together so that the pieces fit together.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that answer because, Chair to the team, I appreciate that answer because we know that our neighborhood's going to be changing for the long-term sustainability, and we want to make it comfortable for everyone that live in these communities to see the change and to know they're part of the change as well. Thank you for that. I really like the design and that you brought to the table. But one more extra question, Chair, to the team. This is that Morgannon Run? How you pronounce that? That's correct? Yes, and that's the Booth Avenue extension. I noticed this particular one, the street is completely taken out, per se. Could you explain a little bit more why that street is completely taken out just for pedestrians, to walk? Chair, to the team?
Yes, through the chair to the councilwoman, that small section of Booth is one-way right now.
Okay.
And so that was one of the areas that we had a little bit more space to work with to give more of a greenway type of feel, have extra buffering. There were limited places that we could do that. The Opportunity Corridor Connector is one that for a future project we'll be able to have more of that feeling. But this was an area where we could do that. And because of the limited traffic, there is only one driveway on that area, and it's at the end. There's a hammerhead turnaround there. It was a way to help control traffic, but then also just give that feeling of a greenway. And that was something that went through with fire and police to make sure that it would be acceptable for all city services. And it was just to give that a little bit more space, a little bit more green.
Okay, yeah, that's nice to have more walking areas in the community, because a lot of residents are doing a lot of walking within their community if they don't want to go to the parks, drive to the parks, then walk. They have a place where they can walk in their community and just go right back home to make it simple and easy for the time they do want to walk, a short walk, a long walk. They have that opportunity now to do that. But thank you for this. I like what I see and to see how it works out. But one more additional question. This might not have nothing to be due to directly, but indirectly, there are construction is being done around the Opportunity Corridor in Ward 5 near 70, what's that, near 60-something. Does that have anything to do with anything per se, Chair?
No,
Are you aware of that?
Thank you, Councilwoman. That is Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District.
Yes.
They're doing some different work as far as some tunnels and also creating green space along Opportunity Corridor as
Yes.
well on East 79th too
Yes.
as well. So
Okay, all right, thank you, Chair. That's all my questions.
thank you. I would like to now recognize Councilman Brian Casey.
All right, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to the Director, I think I have this figured out. So we're going to refer to 2023 and 2025, just for simple terms.
Okay.
All right, in 2023, you came to us, the ordinance was not to exceed 500,000 paid for out of 10 SF 400, which is the ARPA recovery, okay? 2025, you're coming back to us for an additional 315,000. And you're saying that, Mr. Chairman, to the Director, that you want to bond this 315,000 out, correct?
Mr. Chairman, yes, but we've already done so in many cases. So we're not asking for new authority per se, as much as allowing that to be spent by the Metro Parks.
Okay, but I'm just the way it's written in here now with the funding sources is that it says it's coming out of 10, that your additional 315,000 is coming out of funds 0101036290 and 10 SF 400. But that 10 SF $400 is 500 that's already been committed in 2023 and has nothing to do with this piece of legislation before us today. But the piece of legislation that's before us today, you're just asking for I see what it says, because you're trying to piggyback off of 2023. But it's actually two completely different pieces of legislation with funding sources. 2023 was 10 SF 400. This one is Fund 0101036920. So there's no need to have the 10 SF 400 in this piece of legislation because the funds that you've already used came from that in the 2023 piece of legislation.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question? Does the 2023, through the chair of the councilman, does the 2023 legislation allow us to contract with the Metro Parks, or does it not give us that authority?
2023 gives you the authority, the Park District, for the detailed design, pre-engineering, and other studies for Euclid Green Parkway Phase 2 North Project. So it already gives you that.
Okay.
And 2023 says it's not to exceed 500,000. So if we really want to follow the letter of the law, we shouldn't even be hearing this one because that one doesn't give us authority to go over 500,000. So we could either amend that one or follow through with this one with an additional 315,000. So we're looking at almost $815,000 just for the designs, right?
Mr. Chairman, the councilman, so there's two things going on here. The 2023 ordinance is just for design, but it's just for one trail. It's for the Euclid Creek Greenway Connector Trail.
Phase 2 North Project.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The south projects are what leads up to that
Okay.
portion that they're already finishing. So that's 2023. 2025 is for all of the trails that we mentioned, the 4 different trails, 2 of which are for construction. Is Opportunity Corridor construction? And 2 of which are for design. So we have construction for Slavic Village Downtown Connector North, construction for Morgana around Booth Avenue Extension, design for Euclid Creek Greenway Extension, and then design for the Opportunity Corridor Connector.
And Mr. Chairman, to the director, you're going to do all that with 315,000.
So through the chairman and the councilman, 315,000 for
The four
Slavic Village,
trails, right?
Morgana, and Opportunity Corridor Connector. The 2023 legislation specific to Euclid Creek Greenway is that 500,000.
Okay.
So there's no additional money going into the Euclid Creek Greenway extension for design, but this ordinance, well, it sounds like we already have ordinance authority in 2023 to engage with the Metro Parks to proceed with that final design. So through the chairman and the councilman, I believe that if that ordinance authority is already there, that we don't need to reference it in this ordinance.
Right. So, Mr. Chairman, to the director, then in this ordinance, we can take out the Euclid Creek Parkway Greenway extension, correct? Because we're not using money for these dollars that you're asking for today for that because we gave it to you in 2023, the 500,000. She's shaking her head no, so you got
Well,
to.
we still need the PDAs, right? Yeah.
To the chair, to the councilman, the 315,000 does include funding that was on preliminary engineering for Euclid Creek Greenway, as well as funding that was for Morgana Run Booth Avenue Extension. Those were funds that were already programmed through the city, and so that's why they were pledged as match to the RAISE planning grant, in addition to Cleveland Metro Parks share. So this legislation bundles all the funding sources together. I understand the funding authority from the 2023 ordinance allows for the 500,000, but it doesn't put any structure around how that works. This legislation is for a project development agreement that spells out the roles and responsibilities, including that Cleveland Metro Parks will maintain these trails, will patrol these trails. So it goes kind of above and beyond, I think, the financial side to put that structure in place.
All right, and then, Mr. Chairman, to the director, let me ask you this then. And did you spend any of the 500,000 in 2023 that you were authorized on any other project aside from the Creek Greenway Phase 2 North project?
Mr. Chairman, the councilman, we have not engaged any work on that project ourselves, and that money is still set aside for the Euclid
Okay,
Creek
well,
project.
So we'll ask I forgot your name.
Sarah.
Sarah, I'm sorry. Sarah, is any of that original 500,000 going to any other trail except for the Creek Greenway Phase 2 North project through the chair.
Okay. Through the chair to the councilman, no, none of that $500,000 has been spent yet, and it is only for the Euclid Creek Greenway Extension Phase 2 North, or the future design on the extension.
Okay. So then, Mr. Chairman, to Sarah, why do you need if you have the 500,000 for the Euclid Creek project Greenway extension, why does it need to be included in the 315,000 that you're asking for the additional dollars today? When the 2023 legislation not to exceed 500,000.
Through the chair to the councilman, the 315,000, it was allocated 190,000 for the Euclid Creek Greenway for the preliminary engineering feasibility study. So that was encompassed in the RAISE project. And then we have to take that design that gave us the preferred alignment and some of the details and cost estimate, and then continue through the full design and engineering of the project. So that is what the $500,000 will be used for, is to complete the design and get construction documents. And so we have the funding lined up for one section of it to take it from the end of Phase 2 at the former Euclid Central Middle School project up to St. Clair Avenue, and Cleveland Metro Parks will run that construction. But we need to finish the design, and then we also have to do the design all the way up to the lakefront. So it's a complicated project in that it's four separate trails. They're going to different levels of design, and then the legislation for today is actually authorizing on Euclid Creek Greenway the preliminary engineering. The
Okay.
500,000 is doing the final design.
All right, I don't want to belabor the point, Mr. Chairman, so I'll just ask one more question to the director, to the chair. Are any of the funds that you're asking for today, the 315,000, going to be ARPA recovery dollars?
No, sir.
Okay. Then, Mr. Chairman, I'll make an amendment that in section 7, line 3, strike 10 SF 400. Still, this way you still get it through the bonds that you're going to do. We just want to make sure that we're not spending any additional ARPA dollars on this additional $315,000 ask.
Committee members, Councilman Brian Casey has made amendment on the floor. Do we have anyone to second it? Second. It was seconded by Councilman Hairston. Any conversation or discussion? Call the roll.
Bishop?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Hairston? Yes. Gray?
Yes.
Casey?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
7 yeas, no nays.
Okay, the amendment has been read into the ordinance for 496-2025. I do also want to recognize Councilwoman Mauer for her discussion. She has some questions as well.
Thank you very much. I know that this downtown connector project in Slavic Village is really beloved, and because you guys have mentioned that you're coming out to the Block Club, I wanted to take my moment to plug it on TV 20 that the Forest City Park Civic Association will be meeting tomorrow night. That is May 13th at 7 p.m. at Greater New Beginnings Baptist Church. I believe it's 3585 Kimmel Road. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing everybody there who can come and talk about this project's going to be really transformational for the Forest City area and for everyone along the trail. So I look forward to seeing everybody there.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. Hold on one second. I will now recognize Chairman Councilman Kevin Bishop.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I want to make another amendment to, in Section 7, strike or the proceeds of future bonds, if issued for this purpose, and any other funds approved by the Director of Finance. I want to strike that line out of Section 7.
All right, Councilman Bishop have made an amendment to ordinance 496. Do we have a second? Councilman Joe Jones with the second. Any discussion?
That was Kelly.
That was Kelly. It was Councilman Kelly with the second. Any discussion?
Chairman, do you mind just explaining what the amendment will do and why add it?
Yes. So the amendment specifically makes them take proceeds from bonds issued for this purposes only. Got it. Okay?
All right, thank you. And is the administration comfortable with that amendment through the chair?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just ask, are we just removing the and other dollars approved by the Director of Finance, or are we also removing future bond proceeds?
Future bonds proceeds.
Yes, or the proceeds of future bonds, if issued for this purpose, in any other funds approved by the Director of Finance.
Through the Chairman of the Councilman, so this year's bond ordinance will have funds associated with these projects. So if you remove future bond proceeds, then we'll need to amend this after the current 2025 bond sales come through City Council. That would be the impact of your amendment. But if you wanted to make sure that we didn't just throw in any other funds approved by the Director of Finance, that would not require a new legislative action unless for some reason the 2025 bond sales did not complete the 315,000 that's needed and authorized under this ordinance.
So, in essence, what you're saying is that in 2025, you have bonds slated for this project, Director?
Through the Chairman of Council, yes.
Okay, so if it's specified that it's for this project, that is doable at that point, correct? Am I correct on that?
Through the chairman to the councilman, because it says the proceeds of future bonds, I'm not sure I'm not sure how to answer your question. My reading would be that if there are future bonds allocated, that we would need councilmatic authority to allow them to be used for these projects. So if we pass this today, and in June or July we pass 2025 bonding authority for a list of projects that includes any of these trails, then we would have to come back to council to amend this ordinance to include those funds. And I'm not sure that that's everyone's intention here, but that's what I'm trying to get clarity on.
Okay, so, Director, what we want clarity on is that the bond proceeds that you issue for this project is specified for this particular project. And basically, that's what we're trying to pinpoint, is that when we issue bonds for a specific project, the bonds for that project should be spent on that project. Now, if you're saying that if you want to take proceeds from other projects or other bond issuance, you would have to come back to council for that.
Through the Chairman of the Council, I think we're saying the same thing. I'm not intending to use other bond proceeds for these projects. I just wanted to highlight that the 2025 bonds will include these projects. And I believe that you're saying that we will not have to amend this ordinance to allow those funds to be used for these projects.
Right, so if the bonds that's issued in 2025 is specific to this project, we wouldn't have to come back, correct? Am I correct in saying that?
Through the Chairman, Councilman, I hear what you're saying, and I hope that's what we're saying. I'm not the one to say that your amendment will allow us or not allow us to use the bond proceeds if the ordinance is passed after this one. But I agree that we're on the same page with our intention.
Okay.
We just
Okay.
have to, let's just make sure that that would be the import of the amendment.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, all right.
Deputy Law Director, Law Katie, do you have suggestions or any more comments regarding this amendment from the discussion?
Yes, yes, that clarifies.
So you could just add only after purpose and keep that in, and then strike the rest and any other funds approved by the rest of the finance, if that makes sense.
Okay, all right, I'm comfortable with that, Chairman.
Okay.
Chair, do we need another second for that?
We'd have to pull the amendment off that's existing.
Yeah,
and then
so
we
can
have
you,
to-
so definitely, so can you
Chair-
read your amendment?
Chair, in Section 7, of the proceeds of future bonds, so we'll put, if for this purposes, and any other funds approved by the Director of Finance. So could the Law Department say that one more time? What we have, what?
So after, where it says issues for this purpose, you can insert only. And then if you still desire to, you can, strike any other funds approved by the Director of Finance.
So,
It would cut off after only.
cut out after only, she said. All right, so the amendment, or the proceeds of future bonds, if issued for this purpose only,
And then strike that.
and strike and any other funds approved by the Director of Finance.
We have the amendment, do we have a second?
Second.
Councilman Joe Jones with the second.
Kelly.
Councilman Kelly, I'm sorry, Councilman Kelly. Please forgive me. Councilman Kelly with the second. Do we have any discussion from any colleagues? Clerk, can you call the roll?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Thank you for the amendment has passed. Do we have any other questions regarding ordinance number 496 from council members? Seeing there are no more questions, ordinance number 496-2025 passed. Council members, please sign.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one last. As amended. Passed as amended. 496-2025 passed as amended. Ordinance number 243-2025 by council members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request to amend section 1331 of the codified ordinance of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, and enacted by ordinance number 521-2024, passed July 10, 2024, relating to the Highland Park Golf Course and banquet room rates. We do have Director of Parks and Recreation. Is Chief coming in? Okay, Chief, all right. How you doing, Director?
Great, good morning, thank you.
Great. Could you please introduce the guests we have at the table today?
Thank you to the chair. On my left, we have Nick Bednar with Troon Management. On my right, we have Bob Flesher with Highland Park Golf Foundation. And we have Nick, pardon me, your last name? I'm sorry, Tom Sheets with the Highland Park Golf Foundation.
Okay, and I believe I do have a presentation, correct?
Yes, to the chair. Today, we wanted to provide operational updates for the golf course. We've had several meetings to try and understand where we are in relation to this organization operating. And then we also are requesting to update the fees and to do it for a 2-year program so that we don't have to return annually to get fees updated. It is important to update fees on an annual basis to keep up with the additional costs for operating the golf course, which includes labor, materials, and equipment. And at this time, I will pass it over to Nick, and then he will share a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning.
I have a brief presentation. Promise we'll keep it brief, but do have some updates from the last season at Highland Park. It was a very productive season again in our second full season of operations. And as Alex mentioned, our actionable item of increasing rates. So I'll start with the pricing first.
Right, 1 second before you start, Nick, council members and committee members, we will hear the presentation and go through the complete presentation. After we finish the presentation, we will ask all the questions that council members may have. So if you hear something during the presentation, jot it down, make a note, write a complete sentence wherever you have so we can be able to come back through after the presentation so we can get through. Nick, please proceed.
Very good. So we'll start with pricing, and as we do every year, we conduct a competitive market analysis to see where Highland Park fits in with the rest of the competitive golf market. So that's something we'll update annually. We've had a good success keeping the resident card program in place, and in fact have increased the discounts that are available for residents through the year, offering a paid card program for non-residents as well. One of the changes we're suggesting is to create staggered pricing on Friday. Friday being our highest volume day, there's increased demand on Friday, so that mimics what the rest of the market is doing in terms of not quite being on weekend pricing on Fridays, but being somewhere in between weekday and weekend. And then essentially we're asking for $2 increases on 9-hole rates and $3 increases on 18-hole rates, and we'll show where that puts us into the market. Obviously, our goal alongside the City of Cleveland is to keep rates affordable and keep the golf course accessible. Mentioned that resident card discounts have increased since Troon and Highland Park Golf Foundation have been in place. Essentially, 9-hole rounds of residents are getting double the break, getting $2 off instead of $1, and 18-hole rounds are getting $6 off instead of $2. We anticipate keeping those discounts in for the next 2 years. Those have been well received by residents. A brief overview of resident play. So residents played almost 10,000 rounds of golf last year at Highland Park, which represented 17% of the overall play, which means 83% is non-resident play. The HP card essentially mimics the resident card program, but it's paid by non-residents, and 356 non-residents purchased that program in 2024. We hope to increase that to 500 plus this year. I won't go through all the rates. As you would compare 25 to 24, they are all suggesting $2 increases on 9 holes and $3 on 18 holes. Senior and junior rates as well will be implemented, again with staggered pricing on Fridays. Again, one change for this year is to mimic what the Metro Parks are doing with Friday rates as well, which is in between pricing on Fridays versus weekday and weekend. And our peak rates on Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays would be $48 riding for non-residents, $42 for residents for the 2025 season, and then again increasing by $3 for 18 holes and $2 for 9 holes in 2026 as well. So this is the competitive market analysis with Highland Park highlighted in yellow. These are 9-hole riding fees included here, so we break that down by weekend, weekday, and seniors. You can see Highland Park, even with the increases suggested for 2025, is still in the lower half of rates throughout the region, which is a good place to be. We certainly, we're trying to remain accessible, but as we continue to work toward profitability, we need to continue to raise rates to keep up with expenses. 18-hole riding fees, again, you can see Highland Park for our weekend rates going to $48 is still going to put Highland Park in the lower quadrant. 18-hole weekend rates, senior rates for residents are actually the lowest in the area, $29, the only under $30 in the market. Okay, we can come back to pricing afterwards, as the chair suggested. Talking a little bit about financial performance for 2024. When the foundation and Troon entered into this arrangement with the city, we were looking at a 5-year plan toward profitability. We are on that target right now with our pro forma. The subsidy has decreased every year so far, subsidy being $184,000 last year. We anticipate cutting that in half again in 2025 as we move toward profitability. In total, 59,000 rounds of golf were hosted. That was up from 46,000 rounds in 2023. We had a great weather year. That probably attributed to 10%, as noted in the National Golf Foundation's metrics. Cleveland was actually up more in 2024 than any other metro city in the United States. And we're susceptible to weather, obviously. If we get good springs, decent winters, that's going to help us more so than some courses in the South, per se. Golf revenue was $1.64 million, up from $1.1 million in 2023. Huge jump, which was great to see. And our golf rate is going up slowly. $24.80 is the average amount that a golfer pays to play Highland Park currently. Financial projections for this year, we anticipate doing about the same number of rounds. Anticipate momentum, anticipate weather being what it has been, which has not been a fantastic start to the spring yet with rain and cool weather to start. We do anticipate revenues of $1.9 million contingent on the pricing increases that are being recommended, as well as increase in sales with food and beverage, merchandise, and hopefully the advent of the new driving range as we get later into the year. Again, 2025 net income loss projected just under $100,000. That is on target with the pro forma. Okay, moving toward improvements from 2024. These are improvements that happened on the golf course. I won't go through detailed information on each one, but there's a lot going on. Anybody who has been out to Highland Park the last few years can see the construction and the improvements that are happening on the golf course and in the clubhouse. One of the things that was very important to us was getting cart paths shored up on the blue course so that golfers can enjoy that course and it can be open with carts more often. And we have achieved that. Half of the blue course holes have had aggregate cart paths installed to achieve being able to get golf carts out on the course. About a half dozen new tee boxes were shaped out and are in the process of being grown in. That's going to improve the overall quality, length, and enjoyment of the golf course. Drainage projects on 4 of the holes to, again, improve quality of the turf and allow carts to be out on the course. Improved aeration, improved mowing practices. The biggest project that people will see as they come in is the initial grading of the new driving range and learning center, which is just to the left as you come into the parking lot, alongside the relocation of certain holes on the red course to accommodate that new driving range. We are very excited about having that driving range open. There's a lot of excitement among golfers about it, and we feel it's going to be a tremendous success once we get it open. Install a new aggregate parking lot to service that driving range as well as additional demand with the golf course, and removed 20 trees in combination with an arborist to improve quality of the golf course. In the clubhouse, the golf shop was renovated starting in 2023, and that work was finalized in 2024. It really does have a nice first impression and feels like a golf shop now, and is increasing overall merchandise sales within the clubhouse. Clubhouse received fresh paint and carpet on the first floor last year, and repairs to the ceiling of the clubhouse, vestibule, entry, and exterior paint. We did expand the cart fleet to 135 golf carts. That just 2 years ago was 90 golf carts, so that's a significant increase and goes alongside the demand and just, again, being accessible and creating more revenue. It's been a huge, huge win for Highland Park. And then lastly, installed new furniture in the clubhouse grill to freshen that area and expand the seating capacity. Again, that was kind of building from scratch from 2023. Now there's a nice, I think a nice grill experience that's commensurate and probably a little bit above what people are expecting when they come to Highland Park. This is a visual of what the Learning Center will look like long-term and driving range. At the bottom of the screen, bottom left, is the driving range itself, which forced the relocation of the 18th and 8th hole on the red course. So this is in progress. We anticipate phase 1 of the driving range will open later this year. We're hoping for August. That's going to require the installation of safety netting to protect Green Road, which is in progress through RFP, and we're finalizing that. laying a concrete slab with range mats. The grass portion of the range will open hopefully in 2026, but we're hoping for a Phase 1 opening again this August as we head into the fall. Expansion of the parking lot will meet that driving range traffic and increase demand. Finalize the rerouting of the holes on Red Course, which I mentioned. A couple projects that have already been completed are replacing the carpeting in the banquet room, which looks great. Any of you who have been to the banquet room, it certainly needed a bit of a facelift, so one by one, kind of addressing some of the deferred maintenance there, but that is an area of growth for us as well in the banquet space. Newer golf cart fleet, so we're paying the same amount for the 135 golf carts, and we're getting carts that are 5 years younger this year in partnership with our cart vendor. So those have been delivered and look great. We'll continue to work on drainage as well as curb appeal around the golf clubhouse and traffic flow for safety. And lastly, installing fencing to secure the new golf carts that are there and the fueling stations behind the clubhouse. One item that we are very keen on expanding is the junior golf and growing the game at Highland Park. Certainly the driving range and learning center is going to play a big role in that once it gets open, as it'll be a first-class learning center and a place where not just kids, but anybody can learn the game and improve their game. As of now, we do have 10 high schools and 1 university that uses Highland Park, which is great as a home course and as a place to practice, and we have served as a host facility for the First Tee. One of the things for 2025 we're expanding is the partnership with the First Tee, and I believe, Tom, we are the official East Side First Tee location now, heading into 2025, which will only continue to expand.
No, that's Washington Park. You can't tell me that.
On the east side.
That's on the east side. Washington Park's on the east side. Yes, I'm sorry to tell you, unfortunately, it is in fact on the east side of Cleveland. They have a new facility.
My apologies.
Okay.
All right, there's maybe I misspoke of what was agreed upon, but we are expanding our partnership with the First Tee.
You're a location. You're the second location for First Tee
Yes, certainly
on the east
taking
side.
nothing
Okay.
apart from Washington Park.
Yes.
They have a long-standing program.
And a brand new facility there, so yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. And we are hosting a family-friendly Cleveland Golf Day. Hopefully, many of you can make it out to this. This will be Saturday, July 12th. This is in partnership with the Foundation and Troon Golf, who has a community enhancement program where our leader of that program is going to come out for the day. We will partner with First Tee and several of the local schools, and we're hoping to get 100-plus kids and families out for a fun day. It'll be more than just golf. It will be just fun games, rock climbing, cornhole, football toss, live DJ. We want to get people out and know that Highland Park is a safe place to be, a fun place to be, and get people interested in the game of golf and see what's coming with the new driving range. We'll continue to host our local schools and expand partnership with the Senate League, expand the Youth on Course program. That's a great program that is subsidized through the Northern Ohio Golf Association, whereby juniors can purchase a very affordable membership, and then they can play several courses around the region for $5, of which the balance is refunded to the golf courses through the Youth on Course program. So that's worked out very well, and we hope to expand there. The PGA Junior League team is in the works at Highland Park. That'll kind of go part and parcel with the driving range as well. And we will offer and host junior clinics throughout the summer. And with that, we'll look forward to any questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for that presentation. I see a couple council members do have some questions. One, I put you down. One I would definitely ask is, where it relates to this, first, kudos to the nonprofit doing some of the work that you said you were going to do a couple years ago when we turned over the golf course and the day-to-day operations to a nonprofit. I knew there was some hesitations at first from members of the body, but based on the data that we see today, you are working towards making sure we balance the budget as far as this golf course. And just for our viewers at home, Highland Park is a city-owned facility. So it's something that we have to put dollars to make sure we keep our parks and our golf course up and running. But we also encourage residents to utilize this gym that we have in our backyards, which is very, very much important. Definitely a question I would have is when it relates to some of the goals and objectives and things that you've done, have you hosted or do you have any dollar amount of how many golf outings that you hosted, say for the last year, 2024, just so we could just see like what actual golf outings? I know you have the junior golf and different things like that. I know from my email I receive invitations to golf outings all the time from nonprofit organizations. Do you have any data that you could talk to expressing how many golf outings have you hosted over the last year through the, Nick or anyone can speak to that?
We do keep track of that, Mr. Chair. I don't have the exact numbers, but I know that number expanded. I would estimate we host about 30 golf outings per year. The number of rounds is south of 2,000 rounds. One of our long-term goals is to grow outings to 5,000 rounds of golf at Highland Park. It's one of the only 36-hole golf courses around, so we can host some of the larger outings or have 18-hole outings and still have another course open for the public. So we can get you that information, and we'll include this in future updates as well, but that number is expanding.
Definitely, and I definitely will ask you another question would be, compared to other cities, do other cities host golf outings at a golf course, meaning do the city of Cleveland host the actual golf outing? I know you have the community fund at Highland Park that I would talk to in my next point, but do other cities have a day of golf outing at their facility or anything like that? Have you seen that at other golf courses?
Some do. Most are fundraisers. Sometimes mayors have outings for fundraisers as well, but we're open to any group, and the more the merrier, frankly, for fundraising. It's a great way for charities and high schools and to raise money, as well as for businesses to have days for their employees as well.
Most definitely. And then I know what you say for the July 12th is that the community fund at Highland Park. Is there something that is attractive or marketable, meaning do we have like a discounted rate or something for that actual day? Because when I see community, most times you see community, the community want to see where they fit in.
Yeah.
So what that actual day looks like, I know you host family-friendly golf on that 12th. You're going to reach out to local and different sports, Senate League Championship, teams like that. So what does that actual community fun day look like from the activities that's on the golf course? Who is your actual target audience? And then also, is there a way for collaborations? Definitely, we have director of Park and Recreation, so I'm definitely going to ask, is there a way for us to work with our 21 recreational centers to be able to use the vans that we have to get that exposure, to bring our kids to there, to possibly see what we can do as far as getting them the opportunity to learn about golf as well as participate through the chair?
Yes, Mr. Chair, love the way you think, and that's exactly what we're trying to do, is to continue to partner with the city to expose more kids and more people in general to the world of golf. This is a free community day. It's open to anybody, so there will be no charge. We will work with our vendors to provide food. We will have a DJ as well. This is more about exposure to Highland Park and, that it's open to anybody. We're targeting families. I think it's going to be family-friendly that day. Golf itself will have certain stations for chipping, putting, and long game. On the golf course, likely we'll use the first hole of the red, if you're familiar with it, since the driving range will not be open by then, for some of the long game. But it's more than that. We'll create a scorecard of sorts where if people go to all 9 stations, they get a parting gift as well. So trying to just make it fun, make it something that people know that they can come, bring their family out. It's affordable, and everybody's welcome.
Thank you. And through that point, with it being a community fund at Highland Park, we would like to make sure that council logo is included on those flyer marketing materials. Also, with this being close in proximity, with this being offered to the entire city, if we can work together as council to figure out how we can partner on this, that would be really great. And I believe Highland Park is in Ward 1 area. if I'm not mistaken? No? Suburbs?
It's in the suburban area, but in years past, Mr. Chairman, it's always been considered the extension of Ward 1 due to the previous purchases and the previous administrations that had to deal with business and properties that were southerly portions
Okay.
of Ward 1.
Yeah, so definitely we would love to collab because technically this is Cleveland land. If I'm hearing how, that's why we're here. So how do we make sure we market in, get into our residents? I know council members are working on newsletters for this summer. So the sooner the better you can get this material over to help market it out. Also, we can talk to different stakeholders in our neighborhoods about this fun community night out. And so we can really help you get this word out with something that was great. I have no other question. I would definitely turn it over to committee members. Councilman Joe Jones.
Thank you. I guess one of the things I want to do is kind of like highlight some important points here, is that this, if we could just go back to historical perspective here. Right now, the golf course in years past was at a deficit. The city was putting a lot of money into it, I think almost close to $1 million in each year. Where are we at with that right now at this time in terms of city investments, Mr. Chairman, to the Director?
Through the chair to the council member, when we look at the support that has been provided to Highland Park Golf Course, the golf course continues to operate at a loss of just under $200,000. The course is operating better than planned in the pro forma, which is a good thing, but it is expected that the city will need to provide financial support probably for up to 5 years, as originally shared with City Council.
So right now, we shaved off of, what was when we picked it up, this new administration picked it up, what were we putting into subsidizing that golf course? What was that amount, to be exact? Do you know, Mr. Chairman, to the Director?
Through the chair to the council member, I think your question is, prior to Highland Park Golf Foundation operating the course, how much was the city putting in as a subsidy? I think it was around $1 million, but I'm going to check and I'll get a number for you.
So right now, if we went with the $1 million figure, because I know it's somewhere around that, anywhere between 900 and some change. So it's $1 million if you round it off. So we're looking at a possibility of $800,000 in savings at this point, Mr. Chairman. To the Director is the question.
At this time, we are, through the chair to the council member, we are looking at a savings in an operating budget for the city because this course is operating closer to where expenses meet the, or revenue meets the expenses.
And then, Mr. Chairman, to the Director, the upgrades that have been made on the golf course, because it's quite a bit of upgrading. It looks like you've also upgraded the clubhouse, and you have upgraded the pro shop. Where did those investments, Mr. Chairman, to the Director come from? Did it come from the city, or did it come through funds that the nonprofit has been raising?
Can I answer for
Yes.
the Director, please?
Yes.
Chair, thank you. Part of the improvements that have been done on the property or have been included in the budget, the pro forma budget of the operation of the facility. Namely, the clubhouse was included in that, the carpeting, the paint, and some of the improvements that we see inside the clubhouse were certainly handled through our budget, our pro forma budget of what we anticipated for operational expenses. Other improvements on the property, such as drainage and cart paths and tee boxes and things of that sort on the facility. The new tee complex that's up on the #1 Blue Golf Course was all done through the foundation's effort. And today, for instance, we're going back into the clubhouse. The ballroom has been updated, and blinds have never been on the windows. So blinds are being installed today just to give it a little more ambiance, so to speak. And we're proud to say, when you asked earlier about who is using this facility, the word is getting out. I think Tom has more, he could give you more dates, but this month, for instance, the Ladies Garden Club of Cleveland, I think it dates back to the 1900s, is holding their Mayflower show at the clubhouse. And we'll use both the lower and upper elevations of the building for 2 or 3 days. But that will help give the course, the park, because I think we're learning something here. This is more than a golf course. This is a park. This is a historic piece of Cleveland land. And this one event, for instance, should really help grant more exposure to the park, both the clubhouse, the golf course, and to some of the walking paths that we're starting to build on in and around the Potter's Field that will allow people who don't golf access to the property to see some golf, to pay some respect to to people who have been buried there that have no headstones, for instance. And I think that's kind of what we're trying to do. So on the property, the foundation's really trying to step up and offset those expenses.
And that would also include, Mr. Chairman, the drainages that have been put on the various different holes. So all of those expenses right now have been incurred by the nonprofit organization. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman? To the distinguished gentleman.
That's correct.
Let me say this. I've been sitting here at this table for a long time, and I've seen the discussions concerning the golf course over the years, combined probably total 16-some years. And in the process, I will say this, is to see you come in here in a short period of time and turn this around, where the city is not making the major repairs or investments into the location, and we see an asset that is costing us less as a city to run, is a very positive thing for our city to have a system in place, a management system in place, that is working to not only improve the experience of the golfer, but to also save the city money. This is what it was all talked about a couple of years or so back. So I'm glad to see that it's becoming a reality. The suggestion for the hitting range, do you have any idea of what that's going to look like in 2026? I know that there's some of the discussions that I've had with some of the older players at the golf course were concerned about in years past. Do we have any visual of what that will look like, or what that whole proposition is now? I know that when we were at the table before, we didn't have that information. Do we have that now, yeah, Mr. Chairman, to the distinguished gentleman?
I'll give it my best. Yes. Visual of the driving range, the phase 1, as we're calling the Learning Center, is 75% complete. Grass seed is being planted as we speak. A new net has been designed, envisioned, and budgeted so that it can be procured and installed hopefully by August of this year. A tentative date would be August 1st, would be a grand opening for the city to celebrate, and hit the first golf balls out on the range. And then the business side of that is really important too, is that there's a revenue component in a driving range that will help push some of the deficit, will help minimize the deficit, hopefully push us into a positive cash flow on the property and put us into the black, hopefully in '26. As I'm hearing feedback from the public, it should be a well-received asset that the city is providing to the public, to the tune of a couple $100,000 of forecasted revenue each year, and hopefully we can encourage some food and beverage concepts, some entertainment to bring the public to the property. The larger component still will be the education and the engagement that we're striving to get to. Earlier this year, it was brought to my attention that the Fatima Family Center in the Cleveland's east side is looking to bring 100 youths to our property. We're not quite set up for that this year. We can't really accommodate them for a long period of time to have them, because the driving range or the learning center, which might be the center of that feature, isn't in place. But hopefully by '26, we'll be talking about the accomplishments of the business side of it that then can afford the city the social engagement component, that the community that we're really trying to knock down. And I think the word is, or the term is, improve lives through the game of golf. And I think we can do that.
Well, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, certainly want to just take this opportunity to say, job well done. Want to go out there and take a look at some of the improvements at some time when you're available. Really appreciate the fact that we see some production here, and I like the hearing that in 2026 the decisions that this council and this administration, as in partnership, has put together a good piece and is going to have a positive impact on Clevelanders. So congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to our guest.
Thank you, Councilman Joseph Jones, for your comments and questions. I do have Councilwoman Deborah Gray.
Thank you, Chair. I also want to echo Councilman Joe Jones on the Highland Park golf course. When this came to us a couple years ago, it was sent to us by one of the gentlemen. Was it you that sent us the information to look at the Highland Park golf course? Okay, not you. It was someone else. I'm sorry, but it was sent to us to relook at that to see if we can help assist. We open up to reconstruct the Highland Park to make it better than what it was, because it went to disarray per se. But I am appreciative that what has gone on with it. It looks fantastic. I'm happy that this moved forward to regenerate the neighborhood and to keep it going. So I'm happy to be part of that. So I'm hoping that I'm on that ordinance, because I was one of the ones that it was brought to my attention. If not, I would like to be add on it, back on it, or should I be on it? Because I should have been on it in the beginning.
1 second. Staff, can we add Councilwoman Gray on ordinance number 243-2025?
Okay, thank you. But also, I want to say, in reference to Washington Park, my grandson, who's now a young man, he had classes at Washington Park on the driving range, and he was 6 then when we took him to Washington Park to learn how to play golf. And he's in his 20s today, and he's an excellent golfer. And that's due to his father and my other son. They all golfers. So that's one of the reasons why, when this was brought to my attention, I am not a golfer. I'm not even a tee golfer. But however, because of them, chair to the team, because of them, I actually embrace this, because I know they enjoy playing golf together. And my 2 oldest sons, they played at the Shaker, they worked at the Shaker Country Club, and that's where they learned to play golf. So due to that and stuff, I am inspired to say that this is going to be great course that you open back up on the far east side, going to the far east side, basically to the other east side of where Washington Park is. But Chair, also to the team, I just want to elaborate on the fact that I'm glad to hear that you're going to be opening up driving range for the kids, similar to Washington Park, what they have over there because of seeing and then taking my grandson and showing how much he enjoyed playing golf and learning to play golf at the age of 6. At the age of 6, and from that point on and stuff, he have his professional golf clubs today, and that should be implemented to what Council Chair Starr has stated, that we know a lot of our young black kids on in the urban area, they're looking to learn about golfing. I know at one point we were looking, the question came up to see if that could have been structured in the Loop Eastern Park, but it's not enough space for kids to have a driving range over there, even though it's one of the largest parks in the urban community. But just happy to hear that a driving range is going to be set up for the kids in 2026, because I think this would be great for them to learn a different type of a sport other than what they have always been given to learn the other basic sports that they are playing today. And I think this would be a more of a different look for them to invest their time in and to see different other things, as I'm saying by experience when I see my two sons just working at the Shaker Country Club and learning golfing and what they experience, and they have traveled to and done some professional golfing. Because my oldest son, I'm going back into a story, my oldest son who graduated from John Marshall, and they had a golfing team there, and they played golf. It was one of their #1 sports. There, during that time, my son graduated in 1999, so I'm just telling my age and his too. However, they won the second. They came in second. They came in second place of their contest when he was working at the golfing contest that they done. They came in second place. So John Marshall was the #1 school at that time in golf, and I still have the newsletter with them winning, came in second place. So believe you me, I learned that to see how much my two sons and my grandson enjoy playing golf. So I appreciate the Highland, Highland golf course on this far east side to continue. Y'all done a great, great job. I am definitely going to come up there to see how it was reconstructed and how beautiful it is now. And I'm glad that you guys also, did you guys keep the walk trail around the golf course that connect with Metro Park, Chair, to the team? Because I know that was part of the design too.
We've not.
Was that kept, or were you trying to
Not familiar with
implement that?
I'm not really, I can't say that I'm not familiar with the path you're referring to.
Okay.
But what we have started is we've taken the southwest corner, or excuse me, southeast corridor of the property. This property is 400 acres. For all those that might not be aware, 90 acres belongs to, or not belongs to, but is being utilized by the Cleveland cemeteries. 300 acres, still, of that 300, roughly 200 is associated to golf, leaving another 50 or so that's straight up forested land that can be, enjoyed by pedestrians and walkers that can be brought into the golf course. So that's where we're starting with our first phase of walking paths, and then we're in conversation and have been given an affirmative nod by both the Ohio EPA and the Northern Ohio or Northeastern Ohio Regional Sewer District about bringing walking paths in along the storm corridor where Mill Creek was improved or was enhanced, but to bring walkers into the center part of the property that they'll be able to really see stream corridor and golf at the same time and do it safely. We're not trying to bring people into harm's way of golf balls.
Okay, that sounds nice. So I support the project, and I'm glad that you're doing an excellent job, and it came back to that part of our southeast side. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I now recognize Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to our presenters, am I reading this right? If you're a Cleveland resident, you can play 18 holes for $6.
I don't.
Residential discount cards, or is that what the cards cost?
Through the chair, so the resident card is free for all residents. They just have to show a valid ID,
Okay.
shows residency. That is their discount. That is not the actual rate. The
Okay.
actual rate depends on what day of the week they play and
Right.
whether they're playing 9 or 18.
So where it says in one of your first slide, 2025, 2026 pricing recommendations, HP resident card discounts, where it says 18 holes, it went from $2 to $6, $1 to $2, that one there?
Yes.
So is that not the price of what it pays to play those rounds?
Through the chair, this is a standard discount that applies to all of our rate categories.
Okay, so this is the discounts.
Discount, correct.
Okay, so, all right. And then, looking at some of your pricing, how does it compare to the metro parks? I didn't see the price comparison to the metro parks.
Through the chair, 18-hole riding rates are included on the screen now. Highland Park is slightly above the 3 metro
Oh, I
parks
see. Little
courses, Little
Mastic.
Mastic and Washington. These are peak 18-hole weekend rates, and lower than Seneca, Big Met, and Shawnee Hills by $3 next year.
All right. But we're creeping toward the Manakiki, Sleepy Hollow pricing, right? I mean, I don't know, I'll be honest with you, I owe the director or the chief a day of golf, so I'm not a big golfer, right? Although I get out there and hit the ball. But, so I wouldn't know the difference between playing in my backyard or at Tanglewood or Fowler's Mill or Highland Park. But I just want to make sure that the experience that they're getting at Highland is one that would be comparable to, right, what would be considered one of the upper echelons of golf courses.
And through the chair, it's a great question. This is dynamic. You have to earn rate increases because golfers will vote with their wallet. We're heading that direction. However, Highland Park, and I think working with the foundation in the city, we always want to stay accessible, particularly to residents and avid golfers. I would anticipate as we go to 2026, Highland Park will inch up toward the middle part of this category. You can see Manakiki is actually in the top 5 at $65. We're at $48 next year, so that's a pretty significant gap right now. And frankly, I think we have a ways to go before Highland Park is at the same rates as Manakiki.
Okay. And then one last question. I see that your net income loss is under 100,000 projected for 2025. Will these rate increases zero that out for 2026?
Through the chair, the rate increases are anticipated in the budget. So the
Okay,
The
so, okay,
subsidy-
let me ask you yes or no. Will these rate increases project for you to have at least a break-even point in 2026 where we won't be utilizing general fund revenue anymore to subsidize the golf course?
Through the chair, the anticipation is that by 2027,
Okay.
the golf course will be operationally profitable.
Okay.
Of course, we're going to continue to push toward profitability in
Right, no,
2025.
I totally understand, but that was, again, the big topic of discussion when pro forma came in and, and you remember, right?
Well, if I may, through the chair, when the RFP was let by the administration in '23.
Pull that mic closer.
Excuse me. When the RFP was put out for competition in 2023, we responded with a 5-year forecast to get to a profitable or a sustainable operation. And we're fortunate right now to say that we're ahead of that plan. When we say we're ahead of plan, we're looking at that 5-year plan and what it was forecasting for deficit in those first 3 years. So if things continue to work in the direction that we hope that they work, to the point that Mr. Bednar mentioned, by 26, really 27, we're hoping not to make the operation of Highland Park a burden on the taxpayers, so to speak, that we'll have some sustainable path for the future that, lessens the burden.
And then, Mr. Chairman, to our presenters, just refresh our memory real quick. How long is the contract for?
20 years.
You got 20
plus two
20 years.
5-year renewal
Okay.
options at the city's discretion.
All right, so potential for 30 years for you guys to be in there.
Correct. And
Okay.
it's not that the duration, the long term, and this is not today's discussion, but
No, I know.
what our goal is trying to do as a foundation is to identify a way for perpetuity, that the care, the maintenance, and things of your sort, like you alluded to when you were saying, and hats off to Greater Cleveland and really the Cleveland Metro Parks and the way that they're able to provide public golf to all of us. Some courses have an image of being superior golf courses, and if you're not in the know, which is fine, the golf history, there's a great guy named Donald Ross. He was like the golf guy. He was the Johnny Appleseed of golf course design. Major championships have been played all around the United States on Donald Ross golf courses. Shaker Country Club and Acacia, which was formerly there, Donald Ross had a footprint in Cleveland, and his main superintendent that built, he couldn't go to all these places, that built Shaker, also designed, Sandy Alves designed Highland, and Highland is a great golf course. The bones of Highland Golf Course can be as good as any golf course in the public golf course in the United States. We have the structure as we're trying to renovate and make this experience. We're trying to make an experience for the public golfer at a discounted rate, at an uber affordable rate for the city of Cleveland resident. One that they'll always remember, that they'll say, these guys are caring for the property, they're paying respect to it, making it nicer, and it's still $50. It's a great, it doesn't get better than that in golf. So again, we're lucky to have Highland. It's got a great heritage about it. It's got a national story too. I mean, we could sit here all day. I could probably go on and on about what it has. And we're working towards those goals over the next 15 to 20 years.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I do want to recognize Councilwoman Deborah Gray.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just one more question. Are you hiring for summer jobs for the youth to come in to work at the Highland Golf Course?
I think we could accommodate, yes. I think we could accommodate some high school students on staff with Tom. Tom is our general manager of the facility. Okay, and I didn't know if we got the appropriate introduction, but Tom Sheets is the general manager of Highland. Tom has a career experience in Cleveland golf, and we're fortunate to have him at Highland. In fact, I think it was his childhood golf course that he learned to have an affinity to the game of golf. So having him on staff is a true treat and pleasure. We have opportunity, I would say, yes, for youth in and around the clubhouse to help wash golf carts and do attendant work. And our grounds crew, I would advocate to them, the down-to-earth landscaping, who is not with us today, but to hire a few high school students. And if they were to push back that it's not in their budget, the foundation would say, well, we can help make it, we can help put it in the budget.
Excellent. So how can, Chair, to the team, how can we get this information now, and how can we get it out to our wards our community meetings ASAP, because the kids are coming out of school in a couple more weeks or so, and they're looking for jobs, additional jobs that perhaps YOU are maybe not able to fill because they overabundance with jobs and they're only able to hire so many kids per year. Then we have all these extra kids looking for summer jobs on a continuous basis. So how can you help all the council members to get that information out and get our youth to apply for that application so they can have an understanding what is the pay rate, the time frame that they need to be at work, and how long the job's going to be available. Chair, to the team.
Through the chair to the councilwoman, I will work with Highland Park Golf Course Foundation on how we can get that marketing and information out on summer jobs. And additionally, we can work with them in the future on making sure that this organization is connected with YOU as it relates to summer jobs as well. So we'll get that information.
All right,
On the
thank you.
point, Mr. Chairman.
Point, Councilman Joe Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do we have enough play now where we can, do we have a caddy house?
We probably have enough play for a caddy house. I would think, what's Canterbury's caddy program? Caddy program at Canterbury?
The Chick Evans Scholarship.
The Chick Evans Scholarship, but there's a national program that operates through Canterbury that has a caddy program for students that reaches to the point where some of these students are given full scholarship to attend college. And the name of the organization is beyond me right this minute, but I'll think of it. We talked to them early on, and I don't think we were ready yet, and I still don't know if we're really ready to be able to have younger youth hanging, at the clubhouse just to be waiting for an opportunity to go out and be a caddy. It's something that we would like to cultivate. It's the Evans Scholarship, and the Evans Scholarship is sponsored by BMW. One of their large PGA tournaments, all the proceeds from the BMW tournament in Chicago, Illinois, is reinvested into supporting the Evans Scholarship, all proceeds from that tournament. And we could probably get there in the next couple of years. I don't know if the general public either wants to support a caddy program at a cost. It's kind of, if you think about a country club, I've heard that, a caddy might cost upwards to $100 for 4 hours of time, and we're selling golf at $50, below $50 with a golf cart. So there's a dynamic there that I think we need to evaluate with Troon as to can we get the benefit. And probably 26, 27, we could probably, with the Learning Center coming into its life, hopefully we can go bricks and blocks with some philanthropy or a large corporation or some way to solve what is the phase 2 need of the Learning Center. Then we could probably discuss how do we get, because I think it would be a good thing too for the public. Some people would get a lot of value out of maybe having a student tow a bag. I mean, it might not be the full caddy experience, but it could be a really good social engagement component where youth are learning just by being around adults for 4 hours. But we're not quite there yet.
No further questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Just one more thing I want to piggyback, Council, one more thing. I want to agree with you on that scholarship.
To that point,
Thank you. To that point, I want to agree with you on that scholarship because both my sons, when they did work at Shaker Country Club, they ended up with a scholarship. And both went to college off that scholarship, and they started as a caddy, and then they went into the operational area of working in the kitchen. So they had growth to move through the entire Shaker Club operation, because my oldest son was there for 8 years. He went to Ohio State, and my other son was there for 4 years, and he went on to Tri-C. And the scholarship, believe you me, it helped them financially throughout their college education. So, yes, moving forward to look into that, and they started at 16. It wasn't at 14, they started at 16. So just to say the least, they need some experience in order to move through that. But that scholarship is definitely, look at that and keep it on the books. That's what's going to help the kids to grow into another whole different realm of their life. So, thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chairman, no further questions. I yield the floor.
Thank you. See, there's no other questions. Staff, I definitely wanted to read in, I forgot to read in some different amendments as follows regarding this ordinance. So I will read it into the record right now. Ordinance number 243-2025 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin, an emergency ordinance to amend section 133.31 of the codified ordinance of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, as enacted by ordinance number 521-2024, passed July 10th of 2024, relating to Highland Park Golf Course and banquet room rates. There is no legal objections to this legislation if amended as follows. 1, in section 1 at amendment section 133.31A, line 5, strike 1. In line 7, strike A, and insert 1 in line 14, strike B. In line 20, strike C, and insert 2. In line 26, strike D, and insert 3. And in division A, strike subdivision 2, off-season rates in its entirety. 2, in section 1, at the existing division A, 1B of section 133.031 at Friday at 18 holes walking strike 23 and insert $29 at existing division A, 1D at senior junior at 18 holes riding strike 36, 38 and 40 and insert 37, 37 and 39 respectfully. In section 1, at amendment section 133.31C, at additional rate charges, line 3, strike up to $10 to $16 and insert up to $12 to $18. In line 4, strike up to $14 to $20 and insert up to $16 to $22. In line 5, strike up to $7 and $13 and insert up to $8 and $13. And strike line 8, beginning with high school in its entirety. So I'm checking, making sure city attorney has that. Yes. And thank you. And seeing, is there any objection? All right. And no more comments from our committee colleagues. Ordinance number 243-2025. If there is no legal objection, the legislation has passed if as amended. All council members sign it. This ordinance.
Do we need to vote on those amendments?
No. I'm gonna send it over. Seeing there's any other question, Municipal Services and Properties Committee has adjourned.